past 5 seasons, the Pistons have been the losingest team in the weak Eastern Conference. So when you walk away from, a conversation with Stan with excitement in the Detroit, future, I mean, that's one thing that for a fan base that's used to winning and a fan base that's, highly regarded around the NBA, it's exciting. So that was a good thing to come away with.
Okay. I have a question about the Pistons. This year, with Brandon Jennings being hurt, they're saying that he's not going to be back for a couple months. How do you see Reggie Jackson sliding into the point guard role and being able to involve Andre Drummond with the other teammates and getting that unit going?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's really good. There's already a chemistry there between the two. Van Gundy had mentioned that Reggie Jackson has actually come in and taken a leadership role on the young core of this Pistons team. So with that, you see some things, and Drummond's numbers actually spiked last season with Jackson in the lineup, and he was averaging somewhere around 16 points and real close to 15 rebounds and about 2 blocks per game. Jackson's kind of that pick-and-roll type of player, and that's the type of offense that Drummond gets generated. He's not much of a spot-up shooter. We all know he's not a good free throw shooter. So his offense comes off that pick and roll, and that's kind of Jackson's bread and butter. So I think he's going to fit in really nicely there. He's an assist. He plays well with big guys, so he's going to be always looking for Drummond, and Drummond will put that right back down on all his defenders' heads. So I think he's excited to play with Jackson.
Well, last question, Ari, before we got to transition into the next part about the Pistons is, you mentioned Andre Drummond, but how is the impact of Greg Monroe going to hurt this team going future forward?
It depends on which way you looked at it and who you would want to build upon. So Stan had mentioned to me that they were obviously all in on Andre Drummond. So with that said, Greg Monroe is also a center. They're essentially the same player. Last year, the Pistons had Drummond playing center, and then Monroe was playing power forward. So the loss of Monroe, whether you look at him being the building block or Drummond is now the building block. So it's more of a transition. I mean, you're obviously losing a great talent in Monroe, and he's sticking within the division in Milwaukee, so that's going to be tough to see him a little bit more often. But now it's Drummond's turn, and Drummond's going to have a lot more room to operate down low, and he's not going to have to worry about, clogging up the paint with Monroe, who wasn't spread the floor big next to him. So I don't think it hurts as much as some people may think. I think it more helps Drummond. And if that's if that's where they're headed, then that's the way that they're going to go. So I don't think it's going to hurt them. I think it's going to help, and it'll build a different look for the team. But it is tough to see a guy like Monroe go, who's a real solid player, and it'd been nice to see him leave the division. But I'm happy for him. He's in a good place.
Ari, before we get you out of here, let's talk 3-point play. 3 questions, 30 seconds, and I'll start it off first because you write more than just Pistons. You cover pretty much most of the NBA. Let's start with the big question. In your opinion, does Tristan Thompson get the deal done by October 1st?
The max deal, I would say no.
Mark?
Okay. I like you sticking with that topic with contracts. Does Bradley Beal get a deal done, before the season starts?
I would also say no, just because they don't know what the direction they're going to go with Durant, and I think that money that they're going to have with Beal is a little bit more flexible. But that's one that's actually a little bit more interesting. I like that question, but I would say no.
Here we go. Did the Orlando Magic make a mistake by taking Mario Hezonja over Stanley Johnson?
Ooh, I would say yes, because I think Stanley Johnson's the truth. Johnson was the only player in California state basketball history to lead his team to 4 straight state championships. As you guys know, he was with the USA team, won 2 gold medals there with the U18s, and was MVP in both tournaments. Before the NCAA, before they lost to Wisconsin, he was kind of considered the best small forward. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I don't know if it's a mistake, but if you were to ask me, I think Johnson's the guy.
Ari, before we let you out of here, let us know about Full Court Free Press and how to get in contact with you through social media.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm at Ari_Wagner, A-R-I. Check out fullcourtfreepress.com anytime you want. The beauty of it is a free press, so if you ever want to write an article or contribute any sort of content about the NBA, just sign up and write something, and we'll get it published for you.
Also, follow them on Facebook as well, too, because they have some great, great conversations, basketball-related, with so many good people in there. So, Ari Wagner, thanks for coming on the show, talking Pistons with us tonight. You know, you're going to be on here regularly doing different things for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
All right.
Well, Mark, we talked Piston power. We talked about so many different things. But, you know, Mark, you know, being on the show on a regular basis, you know, we have the opportunity to do things that, you know, are good for our fans and, you know, and good for people who listen to the show. So you mentioned it earlier. We're having a giveaway about the show, and we're giving away copies of two basketball games that are going to be out on Tuesday, NBA 2K16 and NBA Live 16. So, Mark, in a few words, how big is how good the feeling is going to be for somebody to actually get a copy of this game? I know you've been posting it everywhere on social media. What's the buzz been like?
I'm telling you, you know, people are excited. They really want to get their hands on this game. They're asking me, you know, how can I win it? And I like read the rules. The rules are, and it's very simple to follow. You know, just follow us on Twitter, follow us on social media. You know, go ahead and just give us 140 characters or less of why you want the game and why you deserve the game. And that's it. You know, I mean, you send us a good response, most likely I think we're going to have a winner. So I'm encouraging everybody to go ahead and get this game. You know, get these games, and they're fun. You know, as far as talking to some people who already have the game early, you know, don't know how they got it, but they already had the game early. But they're just like, you know, it's a great game, and the, you know, the fans are going to love it. And I know it's going to be a line around the door at GameStop and all those different stores, you know, at midnight trying to get these games. So I'm just saying, listen, sign up, you know, go ahead, follow us on social media, and then that way you can get the game, have some fun, and tweet us and tell us, you know, what's going on with the game and what you're doing.
So basically, to piggyback off what Mark said, here's how it works. You know, Mark pretty much broke it down. You need to be following SOFOELLC, FCP Radio, myself, NBA DT29, Paul Myers at P_Myers_NBA FCP, and you follow Mark at Breakdown Sport on Twitter and on Instagram. You got to be able to tell SOFO in 140 characters or less why you should get a copy of NBA 2K16. Yes, NBA 2K16. Now, if you're trying to get a copy of NBA Live, please tweet Paul at P_Myers_NBA FCP. Blow his Twitter up, please, in 140 characters less, and tell us why you should win a copy of the game. What's going to happen is Paul and Sofo are going to pick the top 3 entries in next Tuesday night. Yes, next Tuesday night, we're going to have those 3 candidates on the show, and you're going to have 30 seconds to tell me and Mark why you should win a copy of the game. Now, mind you, if we don't want to hear any stories about, you know, you lost a leg or, you know, any sob stories. No, we want to know why you should deserve the game. Are you a big baller online? You know, are you the best at what you do? Let us know why. Give us a convincing reason why you should be able to win this game in 30 seconds. And the best thing about it is, Mark, they don't have to spend $60 in the store because they get their hands on it. So we'll send it to them sometime next week, but it's their choice of PlayStation 4 or Xbox One's version of NBA 2K16 or NBA Live 16. So, like I said, follow us, me and Mark and Paul, and also our sponsor, SOFOELLC, all through social media, and give us a shout. Like I said, tell us why you should win the contest. But before we go to break, real quick, Mark, you know, we have a lot of topics we want to bring up, you know, over the next until we get to the top of the hour. So one of them is, real quickly, we're talking about Roy Hibbert this summer. He lost 14 pounds. He got traded to the Lakers. You know, is this a good thing or a bad thing for Roy Hibbert to lose all this weight?
I actually think it's a good thing. I thought he was slow of foot, you know, especially last year. And he's always been a big guy, but he just was just slow. I mean, Ford is slow. Like, he could not get up and down the court. I think this is good for him. Having Kobe Bryant there, I think is good for him. Usually I don't say that with Kobe and teammates. Even though Kobe's a great player, he's not, you know, the best motivator, you know, like if you can't really get with that kind of style of motivation. But I think with Roy Hibbert would take it and take it well. So I think this is good. This is good for Roy. I think he's going to come back, a lot better than what he was last year. I think he'll be, maybe try to get close to the player when he signed a big contract. So I think he'll be more along those lines. I expect a good season from Roy Hibbert.
Lakers fans better hope so, because otherwise they brought in nobody in the offseason. So that's going to be that's kind of scary for Laker fans. But Roy's when he's on his game, he's actually a pretty solid player. What do you think?
I think when Roy, he has everything together, he's pretty good. But let me ask you this question, right? When you look at the Lakers roster, and they're very young, right? Besides Kobe, we talked about Roy Hibbert. Do you think there's any other bright spots on the team that, that guy can handle some business? Maybe they can win some games.
I was really impressed with Jordan Clarkson at the end of the season last year. I know could it be the Michael Carter-Williams type of theory of, big numbers on a bad team, but I think with Clarkson, running the show, the Lakers have a decent point guard. He's not an upper echelon point guard, but the thing is he plays hard and he works hard, and that's something that it's a characteristic that a lot of young players don't have, and he really wants to be better. And he has a golden opportunity, him and D'Angelo Russell, to be the faces of this franchise going forward. We all know this is Kobe Bryant's last year. Kobe's on a minute restriction, so with that being said, Clarkson, he started 38 games last year. He averaged, a little less than 12 points, around, a couple 3 rebounds, about 3.5 assists. He was almost a steal per game. If he gets the turnovers down a little bit, he'll be fine. But I think he's the next guy on the Lakers scale, and we all know about D'Angelo Russell. But outside of those two guys, there's not really much in Lakerland to even go forward with. But I like Clarkson, though.
Okay. Let me follow that up with another question. We're going to stay in California, but we're going to move it north. Harrison Barnes just turned down a 4-year, $64 million deal from the Warriors. What are your thoughts on it? Could it be a problem down the road? Just what do you think?
Wow. The restricted free agency game is something that is kind of like the tail of fire, and I have a good opinion on this one, but I'm going to hold it to after the break because we're running close to time on the break. So what we're going to do is I'm going to answer the Harrison Barnes question when we get back, because then outside of that, I got a question for Mark about Anthony Bennett. So we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to answer the Harrison Barnes question as well. If you have any questions for us, too, 407-916-8255 or 800-729-8255. This is Full Court Press Radio, sponsored by SOFOELLC. Right back after the break.
Like everyone else, I've made a lot of mistakes.
Hindsight.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
Sometimes it's a real kick in the balls.
Square in the nuts.
We all say things.
I have never doped.
Or do things that we later regret.
Learn from them and move forward.
Missing out on the best sports talk doesn't have to be one of them. Stay connected to your favorite station wherever you go on the iHeartRadio app. Open our iHeartRadio app today or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
Dog bite? Visit forthepeople.com. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
When roaches invade your home, don't turn to complicated, messy products. Bear Advanced Home Pest Roach Killer Gel helps you fight back. The easy one-touch applicator lets you dab small, precise doses in areas where roaches love to hide, leaving no odor or mess. It's just that easy. And Bear Advanced Roach Killer Gel kills all major types of roaches for up to 6 months or until bait is consumed. Home Pest Roach Killer Gel from Bear Advanced. Get more from the blue bottle. BearAdvanced.com. Always read and follow label directions.
Hey fans, this is Eric Kohler, stadium voice of UCF football. We invite you to tune in to EK Sports every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we feature the preferred picks of the week, insured by our good friends at Preferred Benefits Consultants, where it's always fun to pick those games of the week, but never a time to gamble with your health care. Find a Preferred Benefits Consultant at OrlandoHealthExchange.com. That's the letter X, OrlandoHealthExchange.com, and start saving today.
This is the beat of sports.
Winning's intoxicating. And when you get it, and when you get that it factor, that buzz that people talk about your team, we all love to be part of that bandwagon. And it always leads to those moments where the people of power whether it be a president, an AD, a football coach, ultimately must make decisions that become clouded. Well, what's the right decision of the